Hello, Internet. Magic Man here again from MMOBomb.com, bringing you a first look for Islands of Insight, a $30 game via Steam, developed by Lunarch Studios. Now, if you like these types of videos, give us a little follow there on YouTube, thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff, as we're going to spend about 10 minutes, 15 minutes here checking out this online MMO co-op puzzle game. Put a pin in some of those terms. We'll come back to them later because they may or may not apply and may or may not have already been removed from the game. Lunarch Studios brought you Prismata, the card game, free-to-play card game that's currently still in early access on Steam. The game here is developed by them and published by Behavior Interactive of course, Dead by Daylight fame. So yeah, why wouldn't they publish a puzzle game? Now, don't think along the lines of like Myst or Riven and those obscure kind of environmental, very narrative-driven puzzles. Think of Islands of Insight more, I don't know, in the vein of like The Witness, right? Where you have an open world that you can run around, explore, and find little self-contained puzzles. And yes, sometimes they chain together into sequences that unlock or open things, and sometimes it's just a one-off little puzzle in a corner. Starting off the game, you'll have a first-person or third-person view, and honestly, some of the puzzles are really better done in first person, as you'll see in this first look video, and some of them are better done in third person, so there's quite a bit of flexibility going around there. Puzzles range from things like you see on your screen now, running through a kind of a carnival mirror maze, to little lateral thinking puzzles in the environment, you know, coloring tiles to link different color tiles together while avoiding creating other shapes, or actually in the environment, like finding views or vistas, like this one we're going to check out here. So we've got to find this view somewhere in the Islands of Insight. Now, this just happens to be one of the very first ones. I think it's like the second or third one of these, so they generally tend, at least initially, to be pretty close to where you pick them up. So we've got a lot of pillars. We're going to look around, see if we can find this view somewhere around here and kind of lock that in and solve the puzzle. Other puzzles will be moving tiles, colored tiles, creating area shapes of certain sizes. There's a fine mix here of environmental puzzles like you're seeing now and little self-contained kind of lateral thinking puzzles. You'll see puzzles all over the place. There's like over 10,000 puzzles or so in Islands of Insight. And right now you can only get the game on Steam and it's $30. So what are you getting for that $30? Well, you're getting an open world that's pretty detailed. I wouldn't say it's like the most graphically impressive thing on the planet anymore, but it does its job. You're getting a character creator that's, okay, yeah, you create a character like MMO style, but there's not a ton of options. You're not going to be in there forever. And honestly, the look of your character really doesn't matter. If you're going to play the entire game in first person, you're not going to see it anyway, but it can be changed at any time, and you will unlock cosmetics along the way to change your character's outfits. But there's no stats or classes or anything like that. Now, the game was initially built on Steam as an open shared world MMO co-op puzzle game. And that's a lot of buzzwords for you, but while you will be out in the open world solving all these little puzzles, and you will see a ton of other players running around doing the same thing, that's kind of where the multiplayer co-op stops for Islands of Insight. It's a little weird. It is neat to see other players, and there is a narrative plot going on. You're a seeker, and you're kind of unlocking this stuff, and it's nice seeing other seekers do this same thing. So it does make the world feel a little alive. Yes, you can party with people that you meet or party with friends, but that's the line. There really is no co-op or MMO mechanic in the game that requires you to do so. And there's been a lot of pushback on Islands of Insight in the Steam discussions and on social media that why do you have those tags? It's not necessary to party for puzzles. There aren't puzzles or anything that are specifically designed, you know, to have more than one player do. So while I can party with my buddy and we can walk around and kind of solve the puzzles, chill and relax, and maybe hanging out on Discord talking about them while My buddy solves it on their screen and I solve it on my screen. There is no real interaction where I could help them solve a puzzle in the game. Like, that doesn't happen. There's not even a chat functionality in the game. There's a running ticker of various people around you on a particular island solving puzzles on that island, but there really is no co-op. And finally, this past weekend, the team did relent kind of on the feedback and remove the co-op tag from the game on Steam. While I can see what they were going for, I think the community was probably right on this one. And the team's perspective was kind of like, well, you can party with friends and play with friends, and there's not really a tag for just hanging out, you know, chillaxing, playing a puzzle game. So co-op was kind of the next best thing, but it's probably better that it was removed. And that brings up a really interesting point on Islands of Insight. I love the game. Absolutely love it. And full disclosure, we were given the key by Lunarch Studios to go ahead and take a look, to consider the game for a first look. We don't do first looks on every single game we get access to, but I really, really enjoyed this one so far. I'm definitely going to keep playing it, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it because I wanted people to not be confused by the whole kind of MMO co-op presentation. It's an open world, you'll see other people, but you can't really interact with them in any meaningful way besides partying up with them and then maybe being on Discord or some separate chat device hanging out with your friends. Which begs the question, why is it online? Puzzle games are great. I absolutely love puzzle games, and the sheer myriad of puzzles that you are going to find in Islands of Insight is fantastic. It's just fantastic. We're going to run through and do some chain puzzles here to unlock a few things so I can talk about abilities later, but you're never going to run out of things to do. But what happens if the game closes? It is in this DRM online state. It is not offline like The Witness. So if you enjoy this game and you're having fun doing it and hanging with your friends and playing it, that's great. And there's a healthy player base in the game right now. But what happens 6 months, a year, 2 years down the line? If there's not enough players, you certainly aren't going to pay to run the servers for the game anymore. And then what happens to the game? Do you convert it into this offline single-player mode and just forego the bunch of people running around the open world, which doesn't really serve a purpose besides to look kind of neat and look populated? Or does the game just go away and you've spent $30 on what is a wonderful puzzle game and a great game to relax to and just have like Netflix on your other screen or have some tunes going? It's fantastic. You just chill and solve some puzzles, and if a puzzle's annoying you, just walk away. There's a bajillion other puzzles. Every island has its own set of quests, and you can pick up like almost daily quests to kind of go do and earn additional sparks. We'll get into what those do in a moment here. I would hate to see this game long term not exist anymore because of the online structure that Lunarch and Behavior have gone with here. So hopefully the game gets some type of offline mode so that if it ever did lose its, ability to sustain its own servers, that the game would still exist. From a narrative perspective, I mentioned you are a seeker. You and other seekers are trying to restore the glory and explore the world and solve all these puzzles, and that's great. But there is actually character advancement in your puzzle game. Yeah, they kind of threw some character advancement in here, and it makes sense what they're doing. Not only do certain puzzle sequences on the various Islands of Insight open up different abilities. For instance, we've just solved this long chain through this island. We didn't even finish all the bonus ones on this island yet, by the way. But there's a chain of puzzles that we had to solve to get all the way to this finishing puzzle. We will finish the main kind of sequence through this mini island with this puzzle here. And we're going to unlock a new ability when we do so. Abilities are what are going to allow you to explore new locations, whether that be hidden locations on islands you've already been to but you couldn't really get to, or whole new islands in general. One of the initial first ones you'll get, of course, is the good old double jump. Yay, you'll be able to jump twice. And right off the bat, in one of the very first islands, there is a little hidden island under the main island that you are on that double jump does make it a little easier to get to. You can get to it without it, but double jump makes it a little easier. Later, as these puzzles are compounding and getting harder and harder, your traversal of the islands does also get harder and harder. So double jump and even charging your jumps, those are useful traversal mechanics that you will earn along the way through solving puzzles and moving from island to island. Solving this particular sequence gives us a lovely new ability to glide. So now once we've jumped into the air, we can double jump, but if we hit jump again, we'll be able to glide throughout the world, getting to little offshoot islands that were maybe too far out of reach for us to get to initially. Wonderful mechanics here. There's also actually this like skill grid here. You're going to be gaining sparks and a couple other different little quote-unquote currencies. There's no cash shop or anything like that, so don't confuse that word. But you got your little almost kind of faux sphere grid here where you can spend the sparks that you are receiving from solving puzzles, leveling up, getting rewards for leveling up, and unlock additional perks. So here we can unlock a charge jump, or we can unlock, you know, a little extra experience for solving view through ring puzzles, or a little extra experience for doing tile puzzles. So some of this is cordoned off behind level gates, so you have to be level 8 to unlock a particular wing of your status. But you're going to gain all that experience anyway, so let's gain some buffs along the way. And if you are a completionist, boy, does this game have some stuff for you. If you've already liked the idea of Islands of Insight from everything I've said, solving puzzles, running around, relaxing, just watching some Netflix, solving some mind benders, and you're a completionist, then this game's probably going to do it for you pretty nicely, with each island having a full checklist of all the various puzzle types. Islands also have puzzles that don't unlock until you have completed other new things, so there are benefits to coming back to previous islands. Whether or not you're helping a friend doesn't matter. There might be a series of environmental puzzles you couldn't unlock yet until you solve the puzzles on a different island. All in all, it's a wonderful game. I'm a huge puzzle guy, so all they had to do was execute, and they did. Lunarch and Behavior did a wonderful job with this game. The only question mark I have is that kind of shoehorned online being in the game to kind of keep it behind DRM. I don't know what that looks like long term for the future of the game, but I'm enjoying the hell out of it now, and if you want to, check it out. Steam, $30. Until next time, gang, this is Mike Byrne, aka Magic Man from MMOBomb.com, saying stay safe, and we'll see you on those servers.